that. More than 100 peacocks are wreaking havoc in the Italian seaside town of Punta Marina on the Adriatic coast, leading to local divisions over what to do about the swelling colony. By some estimates, nearly 150 peacocks are roaming free, causing a ruckus and showing aggressive behavior against humans, cars and urban gardens.
And Ian Crosby, whose previous startup bench accounting famously shut down in 2024 before being bought for scraps, is taking another shot at building a business out of automating the arduous work of bookkeeping. His new startup, Synthetic And, aims to build a fully autonomous AI bookkeeper that can generate accrual-based financials without direct human involvement. And although the product is still in the design phase, and Crosby admits his vision may not yet be technologically possible, the startup has raised $10 million in a seed funding round led by Khosla Ventures and with participation from Basis Set Ventures and Shopify CEO Tobias Lütke. And Spotify announced on Thursday that it plans to embrace Apple's HLS HTTP live streaming video technology, which Apple recently introduced on Apple Podcasts to enhance the video experience. And the adoption means that Spotify-hosted shows will soon be able to distribute and monetize their video podcasts on Apple Podcasts, expanding creator reach without requiring any changes to their existing setups. With the adoption of HLS, and Spotify listeners should be able to enjoy a consistently high-quality video experience, no matter their internet connection. As Apple explains, HLS technology automatically adjusts video quality in real time based on network speed and whether users are on fast Wi-Fi at home or relying on cellular data. This means video podcasts will play smoothly with minimal interruptions, so there will be less buffering and fewer sudden drops in video quality. And prices of sacrificial animals have risen sharply at Lahore's cattle markets ahead of Eid al-Adha, with traders citing higher transportation, feed, and livestock costs behind the increase. Residents have started visiting cattle markets across the city to compare prices and inspect animals before making final purchases closer to Eid. And Punjab government has banned 7 actresses and 1 actor from performing in theatres across the province over alleged violations of theatre regulations and standard operating procedures. According to authorities, the action was taken under the Dramatic Performances Act 1876, following complaints regarding obscene dances and inappropriate dialogues during theatre performances. And Islamabad. The Pakistan Business Forum, PBF, on Thursday called for the agriculture and industrial sectors to return to federal policymaking under the purported 28th constitutional amendment and to correct missteps made under the 18th Amendment almost 2 decades ago. In a letter to the various political parties and the government, and the Punjab-based non-partisan body said the country's long-term economic interests could only be safeguarded through a national policy structure on both central production sectors of the economy. And Islamabad. Pakistan raised $250 million equivalent through its inaugural panda bond issuance in the Chinese capital market at an interest rate of 2.5% with a 3-year maturity. And according to advisor to the finance minister Khurram Shehzad, in a social media post on X on Thursday, Shehzad said, Pakistan has successfully completed its inaugural panda bond issuance in China's onshore capital market today, and marking the country's first ever entry into the world's second largest and deepest capital market. And one day into US President Donald Trump's visit to China for trade talks, both he and Chinese President Xi Jinping have exchanged toasts at a state banquet at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing and hailed their relationship as the world's most consequential. On Thursday, following a visit to the Temple of Heaven, a 600-year-old landmark in the Chinese capital, Xi spoke of a shared US-China future, and while also warning that failure to handle this bond would create a very dangerous situation. And Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, PIF, has been named an official tournament supporter in North America and Asia for this year's World Cup, as the country deepens its ties with international football ahead of hosting the 2034 tournament, the 2026 World Cup, the first edition of the global showpiece to feature 48 teams, will be co-hosted by the United States, Canada and Mexico from June 11 to July 19. And United States President Donald Trump has discussed the Strait of Hormuz and the US-Israel war on Iran during his meeting with China's Xi Jinping as negotiations to end the conflict and open the waterway are stalled. According to the White House, Trump and Xi had a good meeting on Thursday and agreed that the Strait of Hormuz must remain open to support the free flow of energy.
That. Israel's defense minister has criticized Barcelona's teenage star Lamine Yamal for waving a Palestinian flag during celebrations of the Spanish League title win, saying the act incites hate. The 18-year-old Yamal waved a large Palestinian flag from an open-top bus during a victory parade by the team through Barcelona on Monday.
And the FIFA World Cup 2026 will be one like never before. Featuring 48 teams from across 6 confederations, the tournament will be the biggest in the competition's 96-year history.
That. Yesterday, Instagram globally released a new feature called Instants that's designed for sharing authentic, disappearing photos. While the Meta-owned social network billed Instants as a new format to share real-life moments as they're happening, many users are looking for a way to turn off the feature, especially those who have ended up accidentally sending images to others, not fully understanding how the feature works. When you open up Instagram's new Instants section for the first time by tapping the mini photo stack in the bottom right corner of your inbox, the app opens up a brief introduction about the feature that informs users that Instants disappear, that there's no viewers list, and that reactions and replies are private. The app then quickly takes you through the process of viewing and reacting to Instants.
And the inquiry committee formed by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif to investigate the One Constitution Avenue case has completed its proceedings and is expected to submit its final report shortly. Sources said the committee, constituted on the Prime Minister's directives, recorded statements from all relevant parties involved in the matter, including government officials, senior bureaucrats, and individuals linked to the case. And Pakistan is looking to expand exports of elite buffalo embryos and dairy genetics to China as the country seeks new agricultural revenue streams and stronger cooperation in livestock biotechnology with its largest trading partner. The discussions took place during a meeting in Islamabad between Food Security Minister Rana Tanveer Hussain and a visiting Chinese delegation. And Sharjeel Enam Mamon has announced that the Sindh government will fully open the Malir Expressway, also known as Shara-e-Bhutto Expressway, for public traffic by the end of May. Speaking at a press conference in Karachi, the senior Sindh minister said the project would directly connect the expressway with the M9 motorway, significantly improving traffic flow for people entering and leaving the city. And Islamabad. Meetings with incarcerated PTI founder Imran Khan remained suspended on Thursday as party leaders called for the implementation of the court's decision allowing the meeting. The Islamabad High Court, IHC, allowed Imran Khan to have twice-a-week meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays with his family, lawyers and other associates. Despite the order, the former premier has been restricted from meeting visitors for several months. And Islamabad. Alima Khan, sister of former Prime Minister and PTI founder Imran Khan, filed a writ petition in the Islamabad High Court, IHC, on Thursday, challenging his prolonged solitary confinement at Central Jail Adiala, Rawalpindi, and terming it illegal and a violation of fundamental rights. Imran, imprisoned since Aug 5, 2023, for concealing details of Toshakhana gifts, is serving a 14-year sentence at Rawalpindi's Adiala jail in the 190 meters case, and also known as the Al-Qadir Trust case. And in a moment that turned an ordinary working day into an unforgettable act of heroism, and 44-year-old railway employee Mohammed Liaquat Ali laid down his life while attempting to stop a suicide bomber near the sensitive Mankor checkpost in Attock's Jand Kohat railway section. And The quiet of the remote area was shattered when Liaquat, a gangmate of Pakistan Railways, confronted a suspicious man wearing an explosive vest who was reportedly moving toward a security installation near the Kushalgarh bridge. And what began as a brief exchange of words quickly escalated into a fatal encounter that ended in a powerful explosion, echoing across the surrounding locality and sending residents into panic. And a vessel reportedly operating as a floating armory in the Gulf of Oman has been seized by Iranian military personnel, according to the maritime risk management company Vanguard. The ship is now bound for Iranian territorial waters, the UK's Maritime Trade Operations (UKMTO) organisation said. And Xi Jinping threw a grand welcome for Donald Trump on the first day of a visit that could reset ties between the rival superpowers. The military honor guard lined up outside the Great Hall of the People to welcome Trump, complete with a gun salute and a band playing the US national anthem. The president paused twice to say hello to school children cheering with Chinese and American flags. And a prolonged stalemate in Gaza risks cementing the territory's permanent division, a top international official overseeing the ceasefire has warned, as Israel deepens its control over the enclave. Nikolai Mladenov, and the official in charge of implementing the US-brokered ceasefire deal in Gaza, and said failure to advance the agreement would lead to a dangerous status quo that would leave 2 million Palestinians in Gaza without a viable future, while entrenching Israel's long-term presence across more than half of the shattered territory.
That, a huge wave of Russian strikes overnight targeted Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, killing at least 8 people and injuring at least 44 more, according to Ukrainian authorities. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia fired more than 1,560 drones on Ukraine since the start of Wednesday, making it the largest aerial attack on Ukraine in a 2-day period since the war began. A further 56 missiles were launched overnight, Zelensky said Thursday.
And Latvian centre-right Prime Minister Evika Selina has announced her resignation after the Progressive Party, her left-leaning coalition partner, pulled support from the government and left her without a majority. "I am resigning, but I am not giving up," Selina, who has been Prime Minister since 2023, said in a televised statement on Thursday.
That Italian football is facing another embarrassment to add to the country's failure to qualify for a 3rd consecutive World Cup. With just 3 days to go until the start of the penultimate round of Serie A fixtures, Italy's top-flight league, half the teams do not know when their matches will be played.
And Beirut, Lebanon, a new round of negotiations between Israel and Lebanon will take place on Thursday and Friday, repeatedly ignored by Israel, which is set to expire on Sunday. It will be the 3rd time the Lebanese and Israeli delegations meet face-to-face this year, after the countries' respective ambassadors gathered in Washington, D.C. on April 14, followed by a second round of talks on April 23.
That Russian drone strikes collapsed a residential building in the Ukrainian capital. Ukrainian officials say Russia launched more than 1,500 drones since Wednesday, despite a US-mediated ceasefire proposal. Audrey McAlpine reports from Kyiv.
And Iran's Football Federation chief says no visas have yet been issued for the national team to play World Cup games in the United States, state media reported. "Tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, we will have a decisive meeting with FIFA. They must give us guarantees because the visa issue has still not been resolved." The state news agency IRNA quoted Federation chief Mehdi Taj as saying on Thursday. And Uber is expanding its technology footprint in India with new engineering campuses and a data center partnership aimed at supporting its overall product development and infrastructure operations. On Thursday, Uber detailed plans to open 2 new campuses that can fit around 9,600 people in Bengaluru and Hyderabad by the end of 2027. The offices will add to Uber's existing operations in the 2 Indian cities, both of which are hubs for software and engineering. And your shot at VC access, global visibility, TechCrunch coverage, and $100,000 equity-free funding is running out. The Dartscat Battlefield 200 applications officially close in just 2 weeks. If you're building a breakout startup or know a founder who is, now is the time to act.